Well, as I said, they're going to adopt what he did or use what he did to present that as more evidence of the stereotypes that are saying what blacks can't do and why they don't deserve second-class status. So they were very creative. They put coupons in newspapers that advocated, went all over the country, and one advocating that Doris Miller should be admitted to the Naval Academy. Another advocating that he should get a commission. Unheard of, right? We hadn't even had black officers at this point in our Navy. They also had rallies. They sent letters and petitions to Congress. Civic, social, and civil rights organizations got involved. As you might imagine, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Some of the sororities, the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. All these and religious organizations came together to advocate for that, because he represented a hope that the segregated society didn't have to be that way, and hope for a society where we could have racial equality. And so that lined up with the continuous civil rights movement in the country's history. Like I said, here's Doris Miller, you talk about the weight of the world, kinda, finding himself in the midst of all of this, when all he wants to do is get to his next ship, right? That didn't happen immediately because he had these drives. So he becomes a symbol of hope for the black race. And his images all over the place, in newspapers and magazines, and was used in recruitment ads and posters even well after World War II. Heroism is not limited to any one race, gender, or any other demographic, for sure. Two, actually I have three. Two, he was the son of tenant sharecroppers. Very humble beginnings. Where one starts is no indicator of where they can go in life or where they will end up in life. Three, Doris Miller did not let people's limited expectations of him limit his view of himself or what he could accomplish as a sailor. And that applies to anyone in any profession who's facing any kind of oppression or people trying to hinder your career. He was focused on what he wanted to do. He didn't take his mind off the prize. The other thing was that in 42, in the spring of 42, a CB battalion honored Miller by naming their battalion after him. So there was some really immediate impacts. When people were advocating, even in local elections, they would bring up Doris Miller's heroism. Wendell Willkie, who was President Roosevelt's opponent in the election, he brought it up. So there's that sort of immediate impact. The Navy will eventually honor Miller in many ways. There'll be facilities named after him, like a barracks. There's a park in Hawaii named in honor of Miller and his family. If you go to just about any museum, you will see Miller celebrated and featured in the World War II section. And that includes our new museum, Smithsonian Museum of National Museum of African American History and Heritage. This museum, the famous World War II Museum in New Orleans, I've seen it, and certainly the one at Pearl Harbor. But there are parks, there are schools, and I'm not just talking about Waco, Texas, where he's from, that where he's given, efforts have been given to give him due honor. And the other thing is that was an effort, I don't think we talked about it, to upgrade his award. I mentioned about the blacks' efforts, but there were also congressmen during the war, Congressman Dingle and another congressman, a liberal congressman from the North, who introduced legislation to have his award upgraded to the Medal of Honor. Captain O'Banion and the executive officer did receive the Medal of Honor. Not that the Navy Cross is any slouch, but there was a movement to do that, and that continues till today.